Hello everyone, good morning. Since it's day one, we'll wait for a few more minutes, guys, for others to dial in. I'm expecting at least 10 more participants to come in. Unfortunately, we picked up a wrong date for this batch. We didn't realize that it's a festival today, Sri Ramanavami, but we have sent out the ads from the past 2 weeks and didn't realize that it's a festival. Let's see how many people turn up today. We'll just wait for one more minute and get started, guys. Yeah, let's get started, guys. First of all, warm welcome to OIC training by Unogeeks. It's a first session for your batch. So I'll start with my introduction. This is Prasad. I've got close to 20 plus years of experience in integration space, 8 plus years in OIC. In fact, I've been using OIC from day one Oracle released it. So yes, I'll be the trainer, a trainer for your batch. And as part of this course, we'll be covering all the 3 cloud services that we have in OIC, like integrations, PCS, and VBCS. And when I say we cover them, we would be creating close to 15 integration use cases, 5 VBCS and 5 PCS applications as part of the course. Okay, so we'll skip the introduction part. I know most of you who have dialed in, I spoke to you one-on-one, so I know your profile well. So we'll get started with the session straight away. And I'll be going at a moderate pace, guys. If you think I'm going too fast or too slow, do let me know. I'm open to adjust my pace. And by default, whenever you join the training session, we have set up meeting in such a way that you will be muted by default. Like when you dial in, you will be muted. But don't think that you cannot ask questions during the session. You can, if at any point in time, if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself, ask the question, and go back on mute. So we're doing this only to avoid the background noise. And yes, towards the end of the session, I would leave out good 5-10 minutes only for question and answers. So if you think your question can wait till the end of the session, please do wait. And when I ask you if you have any questions, you could ask at that time. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Before we start off with what exactly Oracle Integration Cloud is, before we exactly start off with what Oracle Integration Cloud is, we would spend a few minutes to understand why do we need a product like OIC. So whenever you do something, you need to understand the why part first. So you're trying to learn OIC here. Why do we need to learn it first? Why OIC? What are the new integration challenges that exist in today's world? Because you see everywhere a cloud is there, right? So it was not the case 5 years or 10 years back. So what are those new integration challenges that this innovative disruption happened in the form of a cloud bring in? Like all of us as integration specialists, we need to deal with them. So we'll discuss what those challenges are. And we would also understand how OIC helps us to deal with those challenges. And what we do is, yes, we would also do one simple use case to understand how easy it is to build integrations in OIC. Oracle Integration Cloud follows something called as configuration-based approach, meaning whenever you build a component in OIC, whether it is integration, a web app, or an approval process in PCS, you just have to drag and drop the components and build them. No coding at all, zero coding. So with a simple use case, we will understand how that works in OIC. Now, why do we need a product like OIC in today's world, guys? If you look at the IT landscape of companies, maybe 10 years back, all the applications would be on-premise. If I'm a manufacturing client, and if I want to implement e-business suite application, what would I do, guys? I would buy the required servers, and I will onboard an Oracle Apps DBA team. And I would ask that particular team to install the e-business suite application on the servers installed on-premise. And when we have to make on-prem applications talk to each other, when we have to integrate them, what do we usually do, guys? We use integration technologies like SOA to integrate the systems. Okay, so this was the case until 5 or 10 years back. Point-to-point based integrations, all the systems on-premise, and you build point-to-point based integrations using technologies like SOA. But if you look at the IT landscape of companies today, a typical client would have a hybrid IT landscape today. So he might be using Salesforce as their main CRM system. Client might be using it. And the client might be using a payroll solution from ADP. And client might be using a few Oracle products in cloud, like ERP Cloud, HCM Cloud, SCM Cloud. And the same client might also still have some on-prem applications. Now, if you ask a basic question, Prasad, tell me one thing, why are clients moving their infrastructure into cloud first? Why are clients using cloud applications? Or why are clients trying to move their infrastructure from on-prem to cloud? There are a number of advantages of cloud computing, right? So if you take the simple use case that we did earlier, right? E-business suite, if it's old school way, I have to buy the servers, I have to maintain a team, and I'm responsible for keeping this application up to date, upgrade it whenever there is a new version release. So me, as a client, apart from focusing on my manufacturing business, I also have to spend too much time, effort, and money maintaining my applications on premise. Well, I can very well avoid all that nonsense if I've probably gone in for Oracle ERP cloud application, wherein Oracle is responsible for keeping this application up to date, maintaining it, and Oracle is responsible for keeping this application up and running 24/7. And that also comes at 1/10 of a cost. 1/10 is just an example that I'm saying. It comes at a fraction of a cost that you spend on maintaining the on-prem applications. Well, let's not get into it. There are a number of advantages if you move or if clients move their infrastructure from on-prem to cloud. They only pay for what they use, and they're not responsible for maintaining them. And they also don't need to make any capital investments, right? So they just have to get the applications, use them, and for using the services, software as a service products like Oracle ERP Cloud, ADP, or Salesforce, you just have to pay a bill to them, much like you pay your postpaid bill. So for those reasons, clients are moving the applications to cloud. Now that you and me, as an integration specialist, have to deal with this hybrid IT landscape, What are the challenges that we have to deal with, guys? 3 key integration challenges that we have to deal with. How do you integrate one Oracle Cloud application with another Oracle Cloud application? Like you need to integrate HCM with ERP or ERP with SCM or SCM with CPQ. How do you do it? That would be your integration challenge 1. Integration challenge 2, how do you integrate Oracle Cloud applications with non-Oracle Cloud applications like ADP or Salesforce? Integration challenge number 3, how do you integrate Oracle SaaS or non-Oracle SaaS applications with on-prem applications? So these are the 3 key integration challenges that we have to deal with as an integration specialist in today's world. And all 3 can be done quite easily with an integration product like OIC. All 3 can be done quite easily with the help of integration product like OIC. So the challenges have been listed down here. Legacy style integration, like building the integrations or deploying them, maintaining them used to be complex, whether you use SOA or any other product. And there is no easy way to move the data from cloud to on-prem and vice versa. So flow of data from cloud to on-premise and vice versa is a tedious task without OIC. And we don't have, not many integration products have an option to automate a business process. Remember, OIC comes with 3 cloud services, integrations, PCS and VBCS. From the name itself, you can make out that Oracle Integration Cloud, you can certainly build a variety of integrations and make systems talk to each other. But not just that, you can also build web applications or mobile applications using VBCS. So if a client needs any custom application, like an expense report application or a travel application, etc., you as an OIC developer can quickly create it in VBCS. And if that custom application needs an approval process support, you go to PCS, build an approval process there, and you invoke it from VBCS. So yes, you have an option to automate a business process in PCS, and you can invoke it from integration and VBCS. So yes, we have an option. Earlier, without OIC, we don't have an option to automate a business process with integration, but you have that option in OIC. And you also have analytics part as well. There is something called as insights in OIC that would give you a cross-application view, like where did the data come from? Did it cross OIC? Did it go to the target systems? So the analytical information or insights that are available in OIC would help the analytics team quite often there. Now, how does OIC solve these challenges? Before we go through this PPT, I just want to explain, or before we go through this slide, I want to take you into OIC instance, and I want to explain how easy it is to build an integration in OIC. So without wasting any time, let me log into OIC instance first. I've already logged in here. And yes, as part of the course enrollment, I would be giving you access to the Fusion Cloud, OIC instance, Fusion Cloud application, SFTP server and a database in cloud. And you guys would also be using the same OIC instance, the same user that I use in the sessions. I've logged into Oracle Integration Cloud here. And when you log in, this is a home page you see where you've got some recipes. And if you click on this navigator option, you will be able to see the cloud services that OIC provides. Remember, you have 3 key cloud services in OIC. Integrations. You can use this particular cloud service to build a variety of integrations. VBCS. It can be used to build a web or mobile applications. So any custom screens or custom applications your client needs, you will be building them using VBCS. And if that custom application, whether it is an expense report app or a travel application or AR invoice application, let's say after you build it, employee logs into it and submits a travel request or expense report, shouldn't that go through an approval process? Certainly, yes, right? So that's when you go into PCS, you build an approval process there and you kick it off from VBCS. After the approval process after the approvals are obtained, so PCS is meant to build a custom business flows or approval flows. And after the expense report or a travel request is approved, you can kick off an integration from it and you can send the data to destinations. What makes OIC a killer product is, yes, it offers distinct capabilities. You can build integrations of wide varieties. Not just that, you can also build web apps and you can also build approval process to support them. And what makes it unique is these three cloud services can talk to each other, meaning from VBCS, I can invoke an integration in PCS. So from one cloud service, you can invoke the other two. Okay, so that's what makes it much easier to build the custom end-to-end solutions. So if I go into integrations, this is what we call as an integration designer page. You call this as an integration designer page. So any integration requirement you get, you would come into this particular page and you would build the integration flow. Whether I say integration flow, or a service, everything means the same. So let's take a use case and try to understand how easy it is. So let's say you are doing an implementation for a client, and that client is using Salesforce as their main CRM system, customer relationship management system. Meaning that client, whenever they get a new customer, a client would be entering that customer details here in the Salesforce application, and they would save it. And yes, that customer would have shown interest to buy some product or a service from you, from a client. So which means, yes, a client needs to go to ERP cloud application. They use ERP cloud to manage the financials and other operations. So they would go into ERP cloud, and let's say customer has shown interest to buy something. So they would go into ERP cloud, and a client would want to create a sales order, or it probably sold some service. They want to create an AR invoice in ERP cloud. They want to invoice the customer for the service they have delivered. Now, yes, business user on the client side has created a customer details in Salesforce. If you go to him and say, hey boss, you have done a good job, can you create the same customer in ERP cloud? Would he be happy doing it, guys? I've entered the customer details in one application. I've filled in all the details, saved it. Now you're asking me to do the same thing in ERP cloud again. It's unnecessary waste of time and effort, right? So when you have such use cases wherein information entered in one application should flow to another one. So in this case, the customer account created in Salesforce should be created in ERP cloud ASAP. As soon as I hit the save button on the Salesforce, customer should be created in ERP. And there should also be no manual intervention. So a client is not even ready to hit a button. So they would just hit the save button on the customer account and they will not do any other action. I don't know what you do, but I want that customer created in Salesforce to be created in ERP cloud. That's a use case, right? So how do you deal with it? Let me log into those two applications first. I would log into Salesforce application first. And in the sales, yeah. And once you log into Salesforce application, you click on the menu option. Remember one thing, guys, the next 30 minutes that I'm going to explain, yes, we will be focusing on this use case, like a customer created in Salesforce, same customer should be created in ERP cloud. We are not going to build this integration in today's session. We have that integration use case as part of the course. It is integration number 13 that we're going to build as part of the course. I'm going to just use this example today to help you understand on a high level how easy it is to build an integration. We're not going to build this integration straight away, but I would explain the integration use case, and I would also explain on a high level what steps would you do in OIC to achieve it. So in case you're not able to understand 100% of what I'm explaining for the next 30 minutes, completely fine. We will be doing this use case as part of the course. And when we do this as part of the course, we will cover this integration for almost 1.5 hour session. Okay, so just focus on what I'm explaining and try to understand. Just focus on what exactly I'm explaining. So click on the app launcher here, and I go into Sales Console. So this is me as a client end user going into Sales Cloud application. And when I go into sales in Salesforce, this is the first screen that you probably see, a home screen where you see the graphs. And let's say I got a new customer. So what would I do as a business user? I go to the account screen and I would create a new customer account. And in the new customer account, what are the details that you need on a customer, guys? You need to enter the customer name, customer number, and here I would be entering all the customer details, right? Customer name, number, address, etc. And I would hit the save button. And yes, this is me, a business user on the client side, saving the customer. And I want this customer, and let's say I have sold some service to this customer, I need to receive cash from him. And yes, we use Oracle ERP Cloud as a client to manage our financials. So here, I logged into Oracle Fusion Cloud application. I logged into Oracle Fusion Cloud application as a Fin implementation user. I logged into Oracle Fusion Cloud application as a Fin implementation user. So this is like a Fusion Cloud application. Within a single Fusion Cloud application, clients can enable HCM, ERP, or SCM modules, and they can use them. What does a Fusion Cloud application means, guys? If I am a client and if I go to Oracle and say that I want to use a Fusion Cloud application, what Oracle would do is it would install this Fusion application in one of the data center closest to my location. If I'm based out of London, Oracle will go and see if there is a data center in London. And if we have one, it would install this application software in that particular data center, and it would share the link with the client. And what would I do as a client with that URL? I would use this software as a service product. It's a Fusion Cloud application, software installed on the cloud. I would use this software as a service product throughout the month. And at the month end, I would pay a bill to Oracle for using this. And in this application, you could enable ERP modules, finance modules, SCM modules, HCM modules, depending on the requirement, and you can make a payment accordingly. So yes, I am using Salesforce as main CRM system because it is a pretty good CRM product. And I want the customer to flow into ERP Cloud. The reason is, yes, I have sold something to a customer. And when you log into Fusion Cloud, right, on the landing page, you see a layout like this. If you scroll to the right, you will be able to see one group per module. You would be able to see one group per module. So you see receivables here. I click on receivables. I have sold something to a customer and I need to get cash from him. How do we get a cash from a customer, guys? In ERP Cloud, we would create a receivables invoice, create an invoice in AR module, and we would get the cash. Can I create an AR invoice in ERP Cloud without a customer, guys? Yes or no, please? Can I create an invoice in ERP Cloud without a customer?
No.
Certainly not possible, right? So no. which means I definitely, whatever customer is created here, I should be able to find that particular customer in this list of values. Only then I can invoice a customer. Okay, so that brings us to the actual use case. So whatever customer details are entered here and saved on the Salesforce side, with those customer details, I need to create a customer in ERP Cloud, and that customer should be showing up in Manage Customer screen. So this is a use case. Okay, so plain and simple use case. Whenever a customer is created in Salesforce, we need to create that customer. Same customer needs to be created in ERP Cloud. And two important considerations here. I would close other tabs to avoid confusion. Two important considerations here: no time gap, no manual intervention. Now, how do I deal with this use case? Whenever you get such a use case, the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, what are the systems that I need to talk to? Or what are the systems that I need to interact with? Now, how many systems I need to interact with, guys, in this integration flow? What systems are involved? Salesforce and ERP Cloud, right? Two systems. Salesforce is my source, ERP is my target. So what do I have to do? The first step that I have to do is go back into OIC instance, and before you create an integration flow, you need to go to the connections tab, and you need to establish connectivity from OIC instance with the source and the target applications. First of all, you need to establish connectivity from OIC with the source and the target applications, or whatever applications you need to interact with. So how do I establish connectivity with the applications that I need to interact with in the integration flow, guys? You go into connections and you create a new connection from here. And when you create a new connection, you would be prompted to select an adapter. So, and you have 100 plus adapters here given by Oracle out of the box. So depending on what application you need to talk to, you need to pick up that appropriate adapter and create a connection. And if you search for adapters, remember you have 100 plus adapters, which would help you to talk to almost all the applications that clients typically use at an enterprise level. Okay, so I can say Salesforce, I find adapters to talk to Salesforce application. I say SAP, I have adapters to talk to SAP. And I say Oracle, you see there are almost 20 plus adapters. There are almost 20 plus adapters to talk to various applications of Oracle. Like you have 3 adapters to talk to different databases that Oracle provides in cloud. You have adapter to talk to Oracle e-business suite application. You have adapter to interact with Oracle ERP Cloud, HCM Cloud. So these are all the Oracle applications in cloud and on-premise. And if you have to talk to any of those applications from an integration flow, first of all, you go to connections, pick up appropriate adapter, and you create a connection. And you would notice that, yes, you find a lot of adapters here, which would help you to talk to a variety of applications. You might be surprised to see even the social media adapters here. You have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, right? You have Facebook, and you have LinkedIn, and you have Twitter. Why do you think Oracle has given social media adapters here, guys? Any guess? Because Oracle also has a sales and marketing cloud applications. So if I'm a client and if I'm using sales or marketing cloud, and if I want to run an automated marketing campaign, maybe I wanted to post something on my LinkedIn feed, or I want to tweet a message, or I want to market some product in an automated manner. How do I do it? I do it by using those social media adapters. So any application you want to connect to, most probably you will find an adapter. And if you find one, you pick it up and create the connection. Now, as I explain this, at least a couple of you might be thinking about it, right? Prasad, whatever you explained is fine. But what if I have an application that I need to interact with from an integration flow, but unfortunately, I don't have an adapter here? In such case, what you do is, you have 2 adapters called SOAP and REST. Remember, SOAP and REST are 2 popular types of web services available in the market today. And one important point, guys, if you get confused with some of the terms that I use in the session, like SOAP, REST, XML, or a payload, etc., don't get confused. Don't worry too much about it. After the first 3 sessions, we would be doing a web service basic sessions. We will spend almost 2 1-hour sessions talking about the web service basics. So a session 4 and session 5 would be dedicated to talk about web service basics. So in case you're coming in from a non-integration background, or if you are a fresher, these two sessions, the SOAP service basics and the REST API basic sessions, will help you come up to the speed of an integration specialist. So when I say SOAP and REST, you might be wondering what the hell are this, right? So don't worry about them. We would cover them in the web service basic session. So in short, SOAP and REST are two popular types of web services available in the market today. So let's say you need to talk to application A that a client has. And that application A does not have an adapter here. In which case, what you do, you ask the client and you ask him, is there any SOAP service or a REST API that I can use to talk to it? Let's say you need to create a customer, not in ERP Cloud, but in application A that a client has, maybe a custom application. And for that custom application, you don't have an adapter. So you ask the client, is there a SOAP service or a REST API that I can invoke to create a customer in that application? If client says, yes, there is a REST API, this is a REST API that you need to invoke to create a customer in ERP, you would create a custom. In such cases, you create a connection with a REST adapter, because remember, we don't have application A adapter here. So you create a SOAP connection or a REST API connection, and you use that connection to talk to it. 99% of the cases you have the adapters. If you don't have them, you would use SOAP or REST to talk to the other applications. Now, in this particular case, I would have to create two connections, Salesforce connection and ERP connection, right? So I would pick up a Salesforce adapter. Go ahead and create the connection, enter the details and create the connection. But I'll skip the Salesforce creation part, because in this connection, I need to enter something called as security token, etc. I don't want to confuse you guys on day one. So yes, just assume that a Salesforce connection is created. So you picked up a Salesforce adapter, you entered the details and assume that you have created the connection. And what is the second connection that we need? We need an Oracle ERP connection. So you search for Oracle ERP Cloud and you give it a name. Now, whatever components I'm going to create for your batch, I would be prefixing them with a batch identifier called UG46. So whatever connections, integrations, lookups, or any component I create for your batch, I'll prefix it with UG46. Why do I do it that way? Because it makes it much easier for you later in the day to figure out what is the integration that Prasad has created in the session. Yes, I'm assuming that you folks would also practice what I teach in the sessions. And let's say Gopi Krishna or Jahangir is practicing an integration that I have taught in the session. But let's say Jahangir got stuck at a particular point and he doesn't know how to move forward. What he can do, he can go through the recording that I share every day. Look at what I did in the session, or he can also go into the integration and search for the integration that's created in a session with UG46, open that integration and see what exactly Prasad has done in the session, implement the same in his integration. So one request, guys, so when you guys start practicing integrations, don't use UG46 anywhere in the component names, use your initials. If Gopi Krishna is practicing this, he would be using GK. And if GK is already used up, somebody else has already created connections using GK, you can use GKR. Okay, so use your initials. So if Anji N is practicing it, he would use AN. So that it would be easy for you to figure out your components, and it would also be easy to migrate them or identify them at a later point. So I use UG46, I say ERP connection. As I type in name, identifier gets generated automatically, leave it that way. And there is something called as role that we select on a connection. This is quite important. I would need around 20 minutes to talk about this. And first session is not the right time for it. So for now, we will just leave it as trigger and invoke. And when we build the first integration in OIC, we would talk about this in quite detail. So I just say ERP connection. I've given it a name. And what is OIC asking me to enter here? Tell me which ERP cloud instance you want to talk to. I go back and say, yes, this is the ERP cloud instance I want to talk to. Copy the instance URL till.com, paste it in. And you need to enter the username. And I'm going to enter the username as finance implementation user. I would enter the username as finance implementation user. And I need to get the password. I don't want to expose it in the session, guys. Let me get the password and type it in here. I've got the password. I'm going to type it in here. And you test the connection. It usually takes around 30 seconds to 1 minute for this connection to go through. So this way, first of all, you create the source and the target connections in OIC first. And after that, you would be building an integration flow using these connections. Now, another important point is when this connection gets tested. So when I got this requirement, yes, when I got this requirement, I was completely new to Salesforce. And remember one thing, guys, as an integration specialist, you and me will have to deal with. So the connection is tested successfully, which means OIC is able to log into this ERP cloud application with a username and password. I can hit the back button here. Remember, don't use the browser back buttons. Within the OIC instance, you have back buttons. So you click on the back button and you save the connection. Now, when as an integration specialist, you deal with plenty of applications. And client doesn't expect you to be a master of all of them. Yes, some applications you might have probably worked with them in the past, but you might be completely new to some applications, and it is completely fine. Nobody can master 100 systems. So when I got this requirement, I'm completely new to Salesforce. And when I got this requirement, I spoke to the Salesforce technical team. And what did I ask them? I told them the requirement that as soon as customer is created, I told them that as soon as the save button is hit here, the customer account is saved in Salesforce. I need to create this customer in ERP. So I asked them, are there any process automation flow that I can create? Can I automate something in Salesforce? Like say when this button is saved, can I invoke an integration that I build in OIC? Right? So when a save button is clicked, can I invoke an integration built in OIC? What client said is, what Salesforce team said is, yes, there is an option. And they have shown me the capabilities of Salesforce. So what they told me is, yes, if you log into Salesforce application, in the setup screen, if you scroll down, you see a process automation option under platform tools. And if you scroll down, there is an option to define flows there. There is an option to define flows. So I can create a process automation flow, which is going to look something like this. Remember, we would be creating this end-to-end as part of a different session, guys. We would be setting up the flow. We would be building the integration from scratch, etc. But I'm just explaining on a high level what you would do. So you would create a process automation flow, which is going to look something like this. So you would create a flow which would get triggered as and when a new customer account is created or updated. Meaning whenever a client creates a new customer or updates an account, this flow gets triggered. And from this flow, what is it that I am doing, guys? I am using an action called outbound message. So from a flow in Salesforce, you can do few actions, like you can send out an email, you can update something in Salesforce, etc. And at the same time, there is one option. At the same time, there is one action that you can perform, which is outbound message. And in the outbound message, what exactly an outbound message means, guys? Outbound message means, as you can make out from the name, you can send the message to out of Salesforce to a different application. So when you create an outbound message, what does Salesforce ask you? Okay, boss, tell me which integration I need to invoke. And it also asks you, remember on the Salesforce customer creation screen, you have 100 plus fields, right? So the Salesforce application would ask you, when you create an outbound message, what integration I need to invoke and what fields I need to pass as input to it. So what you would be doing, you would first, after you create the required connections in the Salesforce and ERP connections. So after you create the required connections in OIC, you go to the integration flow and you create an integration here. And let me show you how that integration is going to look like. We're not going to create it from scratch, but I'll just show you how it's going to look like. It is going to look something similar to this. It's going to look something similar to this. You would create a Salesforce to ERP service, and I'm showing you a service I created for a previous batch. And when you create an integration, right, there is an integration style that you pick up. Okay, depending on the requirement, you pick up an integration style. In this particular case, and we would be spending almost 15-20 minutes in tomorrow's session to talk about all these styles in detail. I would explain what a style is meant for, and I'll also explain the real-time scenarios where you would be using that integration style. So for this particular integration use case, since a Salesforce application is going to drive this orchestration, and in case another application is going to invoke your integration, in such use cases, you would be using app-driven orchestration flows. Meaning you create an integration flow using this particular style. And after you build the integration flow using app-driven, remember when you activate it, there will be an endpoint URL generated. And that endpoint URL, there would be an endpoint URL generated. You see, this is an integration, right? I create an integration and I activate it. There will be an endpoint URL generated. And this endpoint URL is what I'm going to place in here in the outbound message. So the flow would be something like this. Like a customer creates, a client enters the customer details on the Salesforce, saves it. And as soon as the customer account is saved, the flow gets triggered. And from the flow, outbound message is initiated. And from the outbound message, you invoke the integration in OIC. So which means as soon as I hit the save button, all the customer details will be received as input into the service, and it will be triggered automatically. No time gap, no manual intervention. And what do you have to do in this integration flow, guys? Yes, you receive the customer details here. You receive the customer details, and you would have to plug in logic in the integration here to create that customer in ERP Cloud. Now you see these nodes, guys. This is a Salesforce connection. And this is these three nodes that you are seeing here. This is basically ERP Cloud connection. Now, when you create an integration, let me deactivate this. We would be building this integration from scratch, guys, when we do the use case as part of the session. So whenever you create a new integration, you would be able to see a blank screen. You would first see a blank screen, and you see a plus icon there, and you see a plus icon there. You would just click on that plus icon, and you just have to pick up the connections. So what would be the first thing that I would do? I would pick up the Salesforce connection first, and I will configure it as a trigger. Any integration you build, the first connection that you have in the integration is called as a trigger connection, because this is a triggering node or a starting node for the integration. And any other connection that you have within the integration, this is called as an invoke connection. So when I create this connection, or when I create this service, we're going to create it for your batch as well. And when we build it, you see a plus icon. And I would first pick up a Salesforce connection, and I would configure it as a trigger. And after that, yes, whenever a customer account is created, this integration is triggered and I received all the customer details. So since it is one customer that I have to create in ERP Cloud, I get the customer details and I need to create the customer in ERP Cloud here. Since it is one customer, right? Does it make sense to go in for file-based approach, guys? Or does it make sense to go in for web service-based approach? It's not a bulk customers that I need to upload, just one customer I have to create. So there's no point in going for file-based approach in the integration. So at this point, I also didn't know what are the web services I need to create a customer, or what are the web services I need to invoke to create a customer in ERP. So what did I do? I'd spent almost 2 or 3 days searching for the metalink notes or a support.oracle.com. I searched for this particular string, how to create a customer in ERP using web services. So I got a metalink note which says that customer in ERP Cloud it follows a TCA architecture, meaning there is no one service that you invoke customer gets created. Instead, you need to invoke 3 services for a customer creation. So before you could create a customer account and a customer account site, you need to register the customer as a party and a party site by invoking organization service. And for a party site to be created, you need to invoke a location service. So in short, I don't want you guys to focus on customer creation logic, etc. So it's just that after you receive the customer details here, whatever is the logic required to create a customer, you would plug that into the integration. If you have to invoke 3 services in sequence, you would invoke them using ERP Cloud connection. So you see, we created 2 connections earlier, right? Salesforce connection, you would use it as a first node. And after that, you click on a plus icon and you would use ERP connection. Let's go ahead and use the ERP connection that we have created. I need to create a location first, then a party site, then the customer account. So I'm using ERP Cloud connection now, and within the connection details, you have which instance to create a location in. So I say create location. I say create location. And when you use ERP Cloud connection, you get few options. Do you want to perform CRUD operations in ERP Cloud using web services? Meaning, do you want to create an invoice or a customer or journal or any other transaction or a purchase order here? Do you want to do a create, read, update, or delete operations in ERP using web services? Then go with the first option. And you go with the first option when you have low data volume to deliver. But in case you want to do a bulk data upload, then you use option number 2 and 3. So in this case, I want to create only one location that I received from Salesforce. So I go with the CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete. And if you look at the operations here, there are 3 options available. Services means SOAP services, REST resources means REST APIs. So I'll pick up services, and when I pick up a services here, it would show me all the standard SOAP services given by Oracle. And what do? I would just pick up a location service and I say create a location. So what am I trying to do here? So first of all, I connected to the ERP Cloud application through an adapter. I created a connection and I'm using this connection now in the integration flow. And I'm asking OIC, boss, go to that ERP Cloud instance and create a location in ERP Cloud using this particular service and this operation. Remember, in a package, you have procedures, right? Similarly, within a SOAP service, you have operations. So I'm asking OIC, boss, go to this particular ERP Cloud application and create a location. What does it say? Yes, boss, I'll create it. But tell me with what address details I need to create a location. Of course, I cannot create a blank location, right? I can create a location, but tell me with what address details I need to create it. So what usually happens in OIC whenever you invoke a connection? So here I'm trying to create a location. A mapper gets created automatically. This is called as a mapper or a transformation element. And if the mappings are not done, it will be white in color. If the mappings are done, it will be blue in color. You just have to get into the mapper. And when you get into the mapper on the target side, So you see a source and target on the mapper. And on the target side, you will be able to see all the fields that you can pass as input to the location service. So you can pass in the address details here. And on the source side, you can see what are the customer details you received from Salesforce. And if you see here, remember what are the customer details you received from Salesforce, you see all the customer details with the address as well. So all I have to do is map the attributes from the source to the target. So billing country to country, remember the attributes on the source might or might not be of the same name. You just have to map the relevant attributes. And how do you do the mappings, guys? From source to target, it's like this. You just pick up the attribute and you just drag and drop it on the source. So even if you understand 30 or 40% of what I just explained, I'm more than happy. I'm just trying to help you understand how easy it is to build integrations in OIC. Any integration use case you need to cater to, like whenever a customer account is created in Salesforce, same customer to be created in ERP, you just have to create the connections first from OIC. From OIC, you need to establish connectivity with Salesforce and ERP by creating required connections. And then you create an integration flow, use Salesforce as a trigger and use ERP cloud connection to create a customer. And since it's a customer, you have to invoke 3 services. And for each service, you pass in the appropriate details as input. Now, you see these plus icons popping up and you're picking up the components, right? Whether it is a connection or a if condition or a switch condition, etc. Any component you build in OIC, whether it is an integration flow or whether it is a VBCS or PCS, remember OIC follows a configuration-based approach, meaning zero code. You just have to drag and drop the components and build them. And in OIC, you have something called as connectivity agents. If you go to integrations, you have something called as connectivity agent. And this agent would help you to integrate cloud with on-prem applications. Any on-prem application you have to talk to, you could use connectivity agent. And yes, you also have something called as a PCS available as a option in OIC. So with the help of this, you can automate a business process and you can invoke it from integrations or VBCS. And you also have analytics option available in OIC, which can be visible under insights. But as an OIC specialist, we would basically be dealing with these 3 cloud services, not the insights. Insights is for customers to use. Now, so it brings us to what exactly Oracle Integration Cloud is. Oracle Integration Cloud, it is not a single cloud service. It is made up of integrations, PCS, VBCS, and analytics. So all these 4 cloud services put together in a single box are offered as a single unified cloud service called Oracle Integration Cloud. And remember, this is a PaaS product, platform as a service product, which means, yes, you can get this, you can buy this platform as a service product from Oracle and use this platform to build the required components to do the Fusion Cloud implementation projects. So this is a PaaS product, and the applications that you have seen here, the Salesforce or ERP Cloud, these are nothing but SaaS applications, software as a service applications. Yeah, I think we reached a logical stage. We'll stop here for today. And before I open up the session for questions, just a couple of points I want to highlight here. Yes, it's a first session for your batch today. And we record, so the session timing would be from 9 to 10. We will have sessions from Monday to Saturday. Course goes on for 8 weeks. Every session would be recorded. As you can see, I'm recording this session as well. And we would be giving you lifetime access to these session recordings. So just in case after the session, even you're practicing it, if you get stuck, or maybe you didn't understand something fully, you want to go through the session again, use the recording. And we also give you access to OIC. We would also give you access to a Fusion Cloud application, SFTP server, and a database in cloud for 3 months time from your batch start date. And what do we do as part of the course? As part of the course, in short, we will build 15 complex integration use cases covering various possible scenarios. REST API SOAP services, file transfers, FPDA automations, HCM data loader automation, SaaS to on-prem with the help of a connectivity agent, business event-driven orchestrations using publisher subscriber style, bulk extraction from ERP through VIP report. I've worked on 10 plus integration projects using OIC as a key integration product. And all the common use cases I have come across in those projects, I have put them together in this particular course. And yes, we built 15 integrations, 5 VBCS and 5 PCS applications as part of the course. We would be sharing all these materials with you, the PPTs and the sample requests and the response payloads that you need when you practice them. So all these details would be included in the onboarding email that I'm going to send you. Few of you have already enrolled in the course. And for them, I would be sending out onboarding email around 3 p.m. today. And once you receive that email, just look at the access details, click on the Google Drive links that are available in there, confirm the access. And for those of you who have not enrolled yet, and just in case you are interested, I'm available on this number. Please give me a call or drop me a WhatsApp message on this number. I'll be responding back and I'll just let you know what the enrollment process is. Any questions, guys? Any questions?
This is Gopi Krishna. One quick question.
Yeah,
the projects that we will be covering as part of the curriculum, are this, if I want to add these projects to my resume, can I do that?
You can do that without even an iota of doubt, because these are the integration use cases that I have delivered for not one client, many clients. And even when you start working in real time, you would be building the same use cases, or even if it is a different use case, you can automatically put them into one of these buckets. Okay, so this is not these are not the use cases that I cooked up for a training session. These are the actual use cases I've delivered for end clients. And even when you start doing an integration project for one of your clients, you would be building an FPDA automation service to import GL daily rates, which is exactly the same thing that we did in the session. You can do it even without an iota of doubt. You can show off the level of knowledge that you get in OIC, provided you attend all the sessions and practice what I teach. I stress on it because I see many people are paying the fees. First 1 week you have full house, and later on you gradually your attention levels decrease and you start skipping sessions. If you practice all the sessions, or if you attend all the sessions, practice what I teach, you can show off that experience as 3 to 5 years in real time quite easily. And the use cases that I'm going to teach as part of the course, we already have prepared a sample resume with these components. You could prepare your own on those lines and get into the job market.
And I believe you will be sharing the resumes as part of this
yes.
curriculum, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions, guys?
Can we discuss any platform support here? Any like admin roles in anything else?
In case of OIC, the only administration involved here is how to create an OIC instance and how to create users and grant them access to OIC. So remember, OIC is a PaaS component, right? Platform as a service component. So there would be our role as an integration specialist usually start with we receiving an email from a client, letting them know that, hey, Prasad, this is your OIC URL and this is your username and password. Go ahead and build the integrations. That's where our role will start. But in one of the third session number 3, I would show you how to what happens in the background. So even before you build the integration in OIC, how is that OIC instance created? There is something called as OCA console. So OCA administrator would go in there, create an OIC instance from there, and there would be users created, and users should also be given access to OIC instance. So whatever administration aspects are involved in OIC, we'll be covering that as part of session number 3. Any other questions,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, and one more thing, any like server based in the third party system allow to the OIC, we can do that practice we can here, like in any IP address we install the OIC, we can connect the system, these things.
Whatever, as I mentioned earlier, if you have to talk to an application, create a connection with an adapter, or if you don't have an adapter, use a SOAP or REST to connect to that application and talk to it. So I think connecting to a system with an IP address, we're not doing a shell scripting here, or we're not doing an infrastructure sessions here. So if you, as we progress in the course, you would understand the capabilities of OIC. If you have to talk to an application, you don't connect to an IP address. Instead, you use a SOAP or REST API to talk to it.
One question, in the SOAP and REST API is middlewares, right? And I think it's a transfer the data legacy to OIC, right?
Yes, it would. You can use them to transfer the data from legacy to OIC, but we don't usually use integrations in OIC to do an initial data migration. That would be done by the tech consultants. The integrations that you build usually kick in after go live. So if I want to load an exchange rates file into ERP cloud application every day in the midnight, I cannot have Jahangir waking up at 1 o'clock, picking up a file, exchange rates file given by Bloomberg, loading it into ERP, right? I cannot retain you for 1 year just because to do this particular task. So yes, you can, the initial data migration would be done by tech consultants running those FPDA or HDL loads, but the integrations that we typically build, whether it is all the integration use cases, would usually kick in post go live. We'll discuss more about it. Let's not get into all those complicated stuff on day one. Everybody else would get confused. I understand that you have a little bit of awareness of OIC and a Fusion Cloud. We will discuss more about them as we progress in the course. Yes, Rahul, go on.
Prasad, so is OIC completely different from SOA?
Well, these are two different integration projects. You also have something called as SOA CS as well. So SOA CS is not used by many clients, and even Oracle is not promoting it. If there are 100 clients who are implementing Fusion Cloud, 99 of them use Oracle Integration Cloud. Just two different integration products, but OIC is much easier to use, and it is much more advanced. Advanced in the sense, it gives you much more capabilities than a SOA offers.
Okay. But like SOA is again the Oracle product, right? Because
correct.
Okay. So it means it has different capabilities, right?
Yes. Different capabilities. Some of them are same. Some of them are you have additions and deletions on either side. But to keep it very simple, all the SOA developers are migrating to OIC, and if you are one, sooner or later you have to move on.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Yes, Lalit.
So my question is, let's say in the morning you have told that you will take the session from 9 to 10, correct? And after that you will provide the video tutorials for learning.
Correct.
And in the afternoon, let's say we are doing the integration for our learning, and we stuck somewhere. And means we don't know, and we searched also, but we didn't get any solution. So how will we resolve it? How will we connect you?
World will not come down if you wait for 6 hours. Next day morning we connect, and at 9 o'clock Lalit would share a screen, and you ask me, this is where I got stuck. I would clarify it, and we move on. Okay. And before and even you reach that stage, there are a few things that you could do. Look at the recording, look at the integration we have created in a session, see where you're going wrong. And within OIC, you have something called as, especially in the integrations track, you have some capabilities called enable trace and include payload, with the help of which you can look at what exactly has happened at each and every node. And you won't need Prasad to tell you how to debug your integrations. I would be teaching it as part of the course. In one of the integrations, I would tell you what exactly you need to do when you get an error. Despite all of this, with recording, with integration in the OIC instance, With the debugging techniques, if you're still not able to crack something, there is a 0.01% chance. Yes, you can wait till tomorrow morning. Next day session, I clarify it and we move forward.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah.
No.